Hello everybody, welcome to another junk journal with me video. This is going to be the first process in my new junk journal that I recently made for myself. I shared a flip of this before I started using it on Facebook and Instagram, so if you're not following me in either of those places, I often share little short videos over there that are not featured on YouTube. So this journal is going to be a little bit of a challenge for me because of its size. I usually work in B6 or regular wide or Cahier size or A5, like generally bigger pages, and this journal is not much bigger than A6. It's about the pages are about 4 by 6.5 inches, so yeah, it's kind of an adjustment working on these smaller pages, but I really wanted to use a friend of my mum's had given me an old Ladybird book, a really old one that was called Puppies and Kittens, and I just had to use it, so I took the covers of that Ladybird book and I made a curved spine for it, and I've used some of the pages from that book as well in my signatures. You'll see one or two of them in a minute, but yes, so I am working with a size that is a bit awkward and unusual for me, but I did it. I made the size because I really wanted to. So I opened up the journal on some pages that kind of spoke to me. I felt like working on them. On one side you've got that beautiful dragonfly print, and on the other side is just a plain black. The dragonfly, and then a lot of the bits I'm going to bring into this are from, well, it was a set that was sent to me from Create and Craft for review. It was a printed version of a calico collage kit, or she does digitals on Etsy and they are amazing. This is what introduced me to her store, which I'm absolutely in love with. So you may actually see the same dragonfly stuff on some of the journals that I make for my shop for customers and stuff. I'm not using stuff from my own stash. I loved the collection so much that I bought the digital version of it that is for small business use. So anyway, I'll link Calico Collage if you've not seen her before or anything like that. The stuff is just gorgeous. But anyway, I hadn't really used much of the stuff that Create and Craft had sent me. You know, sometimes when something is so beautiful you just kind of forget to use it because, yeah, I was hoarding it. That's basically what I was doing. So I was like, right, we're going to use some of it. So the little pocket I created was some sticker packaging and that Take the Path Less Flown. I fussy cut, I went around the edges with milled lavender, and then I cut 2 tags from the kit or the set and backed them onto each other, and I'm going to go back and do something on that tag a little bit later, but I wanted to do something on this black page, and there was this little phrase or quote, happiness is flying with your own wings. So I cut that out and then reassembled it, going around the edges with, I think, a Victorian velvet, and then also taking a white gel pen and going around the edges just to doing like a scribbly border to help them stand out. Stamped that butterfly, that's an AB Studio stamp. I used Memento chalk ink in Oasis Green for that because the chalk ink on black is just mwah, chef's kiss. And then I'm writing with a white gel pen. I couldn't think of anything I actually wanted to journal, so I chose a couple of verses from Percy Shelley's. I've written the Skylark there, but I think it's 2A Skylark, so I'm going to have to go back and correct that. Then on that tag I had created, putting on a little rub on because I just thought it was cute and it looked really nice, the colour of it on that sort of purpley pastelish but also very vintagey looking tag. Pulling out one of my fountain pens. The reason I did that little dashed border at the bottom is I was actually checking how the fountain pen and the ink would work on the tag, whether it would start bleeding or anything like that. So I do little borders and stuff to test, and then if it does work I can do my journaling and then complete the border as well. So I decided to add that border, sort of faux stitch border, to the front as well. I wrote in purple ink because I thought it went quite nicely with the whole thing, kind of personal journaling on the back there, so I'm not going to really show it too much. And I don't think I did anything to the front of the tag really. I must have accidentally cut out the footage, but I took some, what are they called, hole reinforcers, coloured them with the milled lavender and put those on the tag as well. Fussy cut this dragonfly, went around the edges with the Victorian velvet and added that to the bottom of that little bag. And then because it was kind of glue on plastic, I put something heavy on it for a while for it to dry. So these next pages, I pulled out some bits and pieces from my junk journaling drawer of bits and pieces I want to put in my journal. The page that's really pretty and decorated there, you'll see a few of those throughout this journal. I had I don't know if it's Calico Collage or another similar shop where you can buy printables for small business use, and I often use them in my custom junk journals and things. I'd printed a bunch and not paid attention to how much ink was in my printer, so they didn't print very well, so I just kept them for myself, and I've used them in this journal. So they don't look quite as nice as they should do, but nice enough for me. The picture is a picture of me. I'm kind of doing a sort of a self-care-y page. This thing I'm working on here, I bought some wax melts for myself from an Etsy shop, and that was the little thank you note that came with the order. And the picture is me the first time I ever used my Shakti mat, which, if you're unfamiliar, they are an acupressure mat. It's like covered in tiny, like thousands of tiny little very hard plastic spikes, and you lie on it for acupressure reasons. I'm not usually into the more holistic medicine side of things, but when it's a physical thing like this, I'm more for it. Like if someone comes up to me and tells me their essential oil is going to cure my fibromyalgia, they're going to get a slap in the face. But something like this, where it's physical, it was actually really helpful. But the picture, when you use it, your back looks, or wherever you use it on your body, just looks horrendous. Like it's bright red with all these little holes or dents, and it looks so much worse than it actually is. So fun picture of that. Ripped just a piece of an old book page, and I wrote my journaling on that. Self-care and bits and pieces, and the little decorative pieces I used were from a ephemera set. I think they were Prima Marketing. I've had them forever and barely used them, so trying to get stuff used up. For this page, I really didn't know what I was doing going into it. I grabbed some of my printables. This is from my Vintage Ads 2 printables, and there was this thing about typewriting, or giving a bit of advice to a typist. It was something about how to sit correctly or use some product to sit correctly when typing. I don't know. You know what these old adverts are like. And went around the edges with what's it called, pumice stone on that one, which is always a good choice when you don't know what colour to use. So because I didn't really know what I was doing with this page, pumice stone just gives it that vintagey edge, but you're not, what's the word? I really can't think of the word I want. It'll come to me as soon as I finish the voiceover. But, you know, like not dedicating yourself to a particular colour scheme for the page. Pumice stone is a really good one for that. And I found a picture that was this funny one that said something about lockdown 2. It says we're going to lock down 2 Electric Avenue, which just made me laugh. And I'm writing about this current lockdown that we're in because I know it's technically lockdown 3, but I think the 4-week one in November just doesn't count because that was a joke of a lockdown. So I'm calling this one lockdown 2, even though this one is also kind of a joke anyway because apparently nobody is paying attention to it. But that's another rant for another day. I did my journaling and we've already moved on. So for these pages, again, I've pulled out from my Vintage Ads 2 printables. All my printables are also available as physical items, by the way. I feel like a lot of people go, oh, I don't have a printer and I really want it, and I always direct them to this listing, like, you can have a physical item. I'm fully aware there are lots of people that either can't print or won't print. But anyways, this spread was about some inks, fountain pen inks that I had bought myself, so I grabbed that fountain pen or fountain pen nib advert, which I'm in love with, and added it to that page and added ripped up bits of washi for basic decoration. Then for the actual sort of journaling and stuff, I pulled that write it down paper from an old Kiki K printed notepad. I think it's from the We Love Letters collection from 3 years ago, maybe 4. It might actually be 4. Oh my goodness. Anyway, the whole thing about these inks, and the reason I'm journaling about them and putting little samples into my journal, is because they are inks that I have been lusting after for a very, very long time, and they have been impossible to get hold of. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you probably don't care. But it's a brand called Troublemaker. They are based in the Philippines, I think, and it's just these 2 guys, and they cannot keep up with demand because the entire world, fountain pen world, are obsessed with these inks, and it's been impossible to get hold of them. But there was a pre-order on a Facebook group, and I jumped right on it and got myself some of those inks that I have wanted for at least, it's got to be 18 months I've been wanting them. So I don't usually journal about my inks, but that one that one was a special one, so I did extra swatches of them, did my journaling. I have little bits of my invoice that I had cut off and added bits of tumbled glass because it kind of went with that Kiki K collection. And yeah, just journaled about the inks and put them in a little pocket, and there we go. Here I had kept the packaging for the HP sprocket that I got for Christmas, and I thought I would make a little tag from the packaging and journal. Kind of, I had the first ever photo I printed on my sprocket, which is of course a picture of my cat, because what else could my first photo on my sprocket possibly be? And I had some washi with like vintagey cameras. I thought that went really nicely, and did some basic journaling about that, making the whole thing into a tag. And then I used another piece of the packaging to make a little tuck spot for that, but because it was quite sturdy cardboard, it wasn't sticking very well, so that's why I've added the staples at the bottom. I added hole reinforcers. The front wasn't, couldn't really be bothered to add a whole lot of stuff to the front, if I'm honest, so that coloured hole reinforcer kind of just did the job for me. Then I decided to have a couple of things in the background, so more of that vintage camera washi, some grid washi, and then some of these Dilutions. I think they're the back chat stickers. These are the larger ones. I chose one that says, "You live, you learn, you upgrade." I thought that went quite nicely with the whole sprocket thing. And I thought that was going to be it for this session, but then I just felt like doing something with that opposite page. So I am using this stamp that says, it's a lady, and it says, "Don't be afraid to fly." It's from a Prima Finavere stamp set, using archival ink in Plum, I think, and stamping that out on some scratch paper. It's a paper pad I keep in my desk drawer and often use for sort of ghost stamping and cleaning off stamps and testing pens and whatever, and I couldn't be bothered to stand up and go get another type of paper, so that's why we used the scratch paper. I thought it would look nice if there was a bit of washi or something behind the lady. I obviously, as you saw, I ripped her out rather than fussy cutting. I thought a ripped edge would look nicer, and I'm ripping up bits and pieces of vaguely matching washi that will just stick out behind her. That one with the gold damask on is actually one of the first washi tapes I ever bought. I don't know why that's relevant, I just thought I would tell you because I've had it for a very, very long time, that washi tape, so there's absolutely no way I can tell you where it's from. Anyway, to fill in the rest of that page, I thought I would carry on writing out the To a Skylark poem, and I'm not separating the verses or stanzas or anything, just complete stream of consciousness kind of thing. And again, I think I wrote the Skylark at the end rather than To a Skylark. Again, I'm going to have to go back and correct that because it will annoy me. Anyway, the brown ink, I wrote that in. I think it was a sepia ink. I thought it went quite nicely with that plum colour. But anyway, that is going to be it for this little journaling session. I am just, flicking through, showing you all the little bits and pieces. Obviously, links to the more standard stuff I've used, distress oxides and bits and pieces like that, will be in the description box, plus things mentioned from my Etsy shop, of course. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Chat to me down in the comments. I always love talking to everybody. And yep, that is going to be it from me. I'm going to go. Thank you so much again. Bye bye.